A spirit warned her, but she didn't listen, and what happened next was truly terrifying. A woman says goodbye to her husband. A spirit sitting on the roof of the car says, "Don't go with him." The woman asks, "Why?" Her husband says to her, "Go on, you're getting late." The driver also says, "Please hurry up, we're getting late." The woman sits in the car and leaves. Standing behind, the husband says to himself, "I know you're not going to meet your mother, but somewhere else. But I've installed a GPS, I'll find you. No one can deceive me." While on the way, the woman tells the driver, "I don't want to go anywhere. Drop me here. This road does not lead to the airport." The man laughs loudly and says, "Just sit quietly." Meanwhile, her husband checks the location and sees that it is somewhere else. He becomes even angrier and says, "You can't deceive me," and leaves. At one place, the car stops. The woman gets out and starts running. The man runs after her. The woman hides, and the man goes in another direction. Suddenly, the spirit appears in front of the woman and says, "I told you not to go with that man. He is not trustworthy." The woman asks, "Why were you stopping me from going with him? How did you know?" The spirit replies, "I know everything about him." The spirit says to the woman, "Look over there." The girl looks at the man and gets scared. The man says, "I found you." The spirit says goodbye and disappears. The girl runs to the car and gets inside. She looks for the keys but cannot find them. Suddenly, the man arrives and says, "I found you." The girl quietly gets out of the car and hides near him. The man checks the car but finds nothing. He starts looking for the girl. Just then, a police officer arrives and asks, "What are you doing here?" The man replies, "I just came here for a walk." In front of the girl, the spirit appears again and says, "Nothing will happen to you." The officer asks the man, "Why do you look scared?" The man says, "No, nothing like that." The girl runs toward the officer, but the man grabs her and says, "She is my girlfriend." The officer asks the woman, "Is he telling the truth?" The woman says, "Yes." Just then, her husband arrives and asks, "What are you doing here?" The officer asks, "Who is she to you?" The woman says, "He is my brother." The husband says, "Yes, she is my sister. I came here to pick her up." Then he leaves. The man says to the officer, "Don't worry, officer. She's my girlfriend." The officer says, "All right, I'm leaving," and walks away. The husband comes back and says to his wife, "Why did you betray me? I never want to see you again." Then he leaves. The man puts the woman in the trunk of the car. Just then, the husband comes from behind and stops him. He asks his wife, "Where were you going with him?" The woman says, "He forced me onto this road. I kept refusing." At that moment, the officer arrives again. The woman says to him, "Arrest him." The officer arrests the man and says, "I already know all your plans," and takes him away. Suddenly, the spirit appears and says, "Thank you for bringing him to his end," and disappears. The husband asks his wife, "Who are you talking to?" The woman replies, "It's a long story. I'll tell you when we get home." The man takes his wife with him and they leave.